And now, an 8th special presentation.
Today on Art Beat Nation. Bollywood makes a splash in the Sunshine State.
Because very often we can accomplish things artistically and culturally that we can't politically.
Over 20 years on, a museum recovers from a devastating theft.
The theft was such a painful and horrible moment in the museum's life.
A designer strives for clean lines and a cleaner world.
I think you have to build things to last.
And we meet a creative type whose lifelong love of architecture informs his artistic style.
Believe in what you do.
It's all ahead on this edition of Art Beat Nation. Funding for Art Beat Nation is made possible by contributions to 8 from viewers like you. Thank you. Tampa, Florida is basking in more than just sun these days. In our first segment, Tampa becomes the backdrop for the IFA Awards, the Oscars of Bollywood, making it the first American city to host the event. We stop by and catch up with Bollywood's brightest stars.
I think the brand, the IFA, that made us come all the way from India here.
Every year, IFA chooses a new host city in a different country to hold its awards show. This year, Tampa was chosen to host, making it the only city in the United States to do so. IFA events took over Tampa for 4 days, ranging from the IFA Expo to the main event, the awards show. The IFA Expo brought the vibrant magic of India to America through customary food, entertainment, dress, and jewelry.
My product is very much inspired from the Indian colors and cultures. So I believe that it's like the correct blend for the international customers to see the Indian trend.
I'm from Delhi, India, and we manufacture ladies' suits, ladies' garments, designer wears. A lot of Indian culture, Indian Bollywood being displayed, and I see a lot of craze for our dresses and our jewelry.
I mean, this is the biggest event so far in US regarding the Bollywood, and it's a big opportunity for us as a vendor to interact with so many people coming all over the world. I'm meeting different kind of people, from all over the India, different cultures, which I was not doing it in back home.
This is all Bollywood party, so of course I have all Indian cultural clothes, and maximum sale for the sarees, of course, because you don't need to bother about the sizes over here, and people love the colors.
Are you kidding? You can get that. You know what you can get? I think with the IFA, the Indian product is very important because IFA is all about Bollywood and India. And when we have the Indian products around, so that makes India a complete picture for the US or anywhere IFA goes always.
Thousands of spectators came to the green carpet to get a glimpse of their favorite Bollywood stars.
IFA Award for Best Performance in a Leading Role Male goes to Farhan Akhtar for Bhaag Milka Bhaag! Woo!
The so-called Bollywood Oscars presents awards in artistic and technical excellence to professionals in the Indian film industry.
So I'm Miss America, that was my talent, so I grew up watching Bollywood films.
Celebrities from India and the United States attended the IFA Awards show, bringing glitz and glamour to the green carpet. Several celebrities share their perspective on the Bollywood industry and the award hopefuls.
It just feels very unreal, yeah, because for any actor to crack that first film is very tough, of course, and that is like a dream. And then on top of that, once you crack it, people like it. Getting nominated for IFA, I think it's just like, it's beautiful.
I hope we can do justice and entertain this amazing humanity which has turned over today. And I also see a lot of local citizens and fellow Americans, and so I hope they like the show and they bite into the Indian movies a bit.
I think it's the right time. That the timing is very right, and it's it happened. I started off Slumdog Millionaire, and I think somewhere they started taking notice that the film had an entire brown star cast.
Valuable, and it's great, and it's important, and the fact that I'm here tonight to welcome IFA to the United States makes me feel like, that's what we should be doing, bring our cultures together, because very often we can accomplish things artistically and culturally that we can't politically.
It's been an amazing 4 days. I think in the short term, there's going to be an economic infusion of capital, but in the long term, to establish relationships with India, with the Indian film industry, with Indian corporate leaders, will pay dividends for decades.
The IFA events infused Indian flavor into Tampa Bay.
For more, visit IFA.com. Up next, we stop by a historic Boston museum, which is as known for its impressive collection as it is for the art theft that devastated its staff and sent shockwaves through the art world. We catch up with the museum more than 2 decades on and meet the artist who has helped to fill the empty frames. Take a look.
It's as notorious as it is heartbreaking. On a late night in March 1990, thieves gained access to the Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum. It took 81 minutes for them to deliberately make their way through the Gardner, stealing 13 works of art valued at more than $500 million. The most prized paintings, Rembrandt's only seascape, and an exceedingly rare Vermeer, one of only 36 known in existence. Both were literally torn from their frames. Anne Hawley was fresh into her directorship.
The theft was such a painful and horrible moment in the museum's life.
Historically, Hawley has publicly said little about the theft, which remains unsolved despite drawing worldwide attention from the beginning.
We also were being threatened from the outside by criminals who wanted attention from the FBI, and so they were threatening us and threatening putting bombs in the museum. We were evacuating the museum. Staff members were under threat. No one knew really what kind of a cauldron we were in.
In the midst of it all, Hawley received a call from artist Sophie Calle, who counted Vermeer's The Concert as one of her favorite works of art. Calle wanted to document the sudden absence that pervaded the museum.
I don't think I brought emotion. Maybe I brought a diversion.
It just seemed that she had the grit and the imagination and the courage to basically come into what was a very, very hard environment and use creativity as a way of regenerating something that could be healing and for the staff, and also could turn loss into some kind of work of art.
In Last Seen, which has been shown around the world and now appears at the Gardner for the first time, Calle asked museum staffers to describe the stolen works.
The idea was to do a portrait of the missing painting through people's memories, and I picked one phrase. I tried to make a portrait with not too many repetitions, that was fluid, that was poetic, that works as a text.
You can imagine what that did for people. And also just she's such an interesting person. So it took people's minds off for a moment what was going on.
Roughly 20 years later, the museum invited Cal back. In What Do You See?, she again confronts absence, this time made even more profound by the museum's decision in 1995 to rehang the stolen painting's frames. Here, the artist posed questions to a variety of museum staff and visitors as they contemplated the missing works.
I didn't ask them to describe the painting. I asked people, what do you see? And obviously the staff members, they still see a Vermeer or a Rembrandt, but some of the visitors saw an empty frame, a tapestry on the wall, a hall, and something they didn't understand why it was empty.
One of the most haunting images features Holly herself, caught in reflection, 23 years of loss staring back at museum patrons.
What's it like for you to see the portrait, the picture where we see you?
That was shocking to me because I didn't know that I would be reflected. I'm sort of staying away from it. I don't know. When I saw it, I just turned away. I was very surprised. And I asked her last night if she knew that she caught that reflection, and she said yes. And I said, oh, why didn't you tell me? I just, would have preferred to have been anonymous.
It's poignant, though. Holly is now forever remembered, just as she wants the paintings to be.
In our next segment, we learn how designer Kenji Kondo is changing the way we think about manufacturing goods. The blueprints for every Kondo design, from small household items to large pieces of furniture, can be shared electronically and hence created by manufacturers wherever Kondo happens to have customers. We catch up with this innovative artist in his Albuquerque atelier.
From a very young age, I was influenced by design, and I always knew that everything that you touched was designed. I remember growing up and even going to a restaurant with my family, and every meal was started this way. And my dad would make this little object out of the wrapper of a pair of chopsticks, and it would become the rest for the chopsticks. Everywhere you turn, somebody designed something that you're touching. The cost of machinery has come down so drastically that anybody can buy the equipment and start working. The technology has kind of put manufacturing basically on its ear. What this has done is made it almost like going to Kinko's. When somebody comes in and if they know what their end product is, then obviously it's very easy. If they don't know what their end product is, all of us can help them find their end product. And not that it's any new concept. Industrial design houses have done it forever, but it's at a much more accessible level. So you can walk in the door, hand somebody a jump drive, and a day later or 30 minutes later, you can walk out with an object. Our first step is taking our idea and bringing it into the computer. And in this case, we bring it into a 3D program. After we're comfortable with the drawing, we'll either take it into a process called rapid prototyping, or in this case, we build a model using a laser cutter to cut all the pieces. Once the fit of the model is correct, we can then take it and bring it up to full scale, and we bring it onto a CNC router, which cuts the parts out of plywood. that can then be assembled, painted, and delivered. You can get all the mistakes out of the drawing pretty much in one shot. Make sure all the notches will line up, and that way, when it goes into the real material, we now know that the fit is correct. My range of design goes from a tissue box cover all the way to furniture. We've pretty much cut everything that you can cut in a laser or on a CNC router or a plasma cutter. One of the main reasons I started looking at this avenue for manufacturing was that for a long time I was on the road a tremendous amount, and I had all this equipment and it was lying dormant for 50% of the year. For me, it felt like it was a way to have it running and give access to people. Once somebody purchases an object, it can be made quickly with just a push of a button. And at the same time, it can be made both locally, and I can send that same file to Brooklyn and have it manufactured there as well. So your carbon footprint is decreased because there's no trucks involved. So that means that the manufacturing points are also saving that dollar for the consumer. I came from a sculpture and architecture background, and in sculpture you make objects that initially make you happy first, with the hopes that they make somebody else happy, or they understand what you're thinking about. To me, it's really design is trying to make objects that people will keep. When I was growing up, I grew up with great design, and a lot of those objects I still have. I think you have to build things to last because the resources aren't there to not do that. I mean, I want my objects to last. I want them to be around for a very long time. What's important in my work is that it's solid, in that people recognize it and appreciate it. I think good aesthetics almost create peace in people.
For more, visit kenjikondo.com. And finally, we travel the world, take in cityscapes, and gaze up at the ceilings of the finest concert halls, all through the eyes of an artist. Meet Steve Slasky. His work might be described as frenetic with its many squiggly lines and splashes of color. Indeed, it's this energy that helps transport Slasky's viewers to the faraway places he depicts.
To me, it's always been almost a compulsion to draw. I feel like I'm primarily an observer, then I capture what I see in my own style. My name is Steve Slasky, and I'm an artist. I mean, it seems like I've been drawing pretty much my whole life. I'd say I started out just drawing everything around me, but I developed a particular interest in architecture, visually just the excitement of the man-made environment that we've created. I have a degree in architecture from the University of Wisconsin. So, I mean, I had that, I thought architecture was a way of combining my interests in buildings and in drawing. I started out being very interested in a lot of the historic buildings in Milwaukee. I had done the Miller House and the Judge Jason Downer House on the corner of Prospect and Juneau, because I was just inspired by the history of those buildings. the excitement of what we've created, the man-made, created, contrasted with the natural environment. And I think also a part of my work has been the contrast of the new with the old, the historic architecture with modern architecture that I find very exciting. What you're seeing in the piece is 23 drawings from what has become over 300 drawings that I've done in concert settings. Some of the earliest ones were at St. John's Cathedral in Milwaukee. So the title of this piece is Drawing Music, and in various places, mainly the Chicago Cultural Center, where I go almost weekly to draw in that setting. It's a beautiful setting in the old Chicago Public Library. I like the combination of drawing during a concert, letting the music flow as part of the drawing. I've found through this process that the music really does feed my artistic output. Most of these drawings, I give myself the time of the concert, which is less than an hour, to complete one of these drawings. You're capturing the artist, the environment, you're surrounded by the music, you feel the energy from the artist, you're there among the people listening. It's the entire experience. I generally start with the musicians. I am so taken with that space that I've drawn it from every angle now. But I've always done this as part of my travels too. I've always been inspired by what's around me, and when I travel, I always find exciting new places to be. These drawings that I do there, it captures a moment in time that I find really exciting. I like to draw when I travel, and capturing different cities and their skylines, it just seemed like a natural thing for me to do. Of the skylines, I did one of the Chrysler Building in New York, which was exciting to me because it was a combination of an actual scene and creating a piece using a model I had built of the Empire State Building as a vantage point for this drawing. I started out doing my drawings and adding color to those drawings. Over time, the color got bolder. I started doing just paintings in color, getting away from the line. But I always end up going back to drawing, which I feel like is such an intrinsic part of my work. The mural behind me is actually funny because it's the back of the bandshell in Millennium Park, which throughout the summer season in Chicago, there's free concerts there all summer long. The idea behind these murals was to depict different Chicago neighborhoods, particular scenes of Chicago architecture. One of my favorite exhibitions that I've done is a show of portraits drawn from live sittings, taking this thing we've talked about with buildings and applying that to the dynamic, drawing another person and capturing them in a drawing that was done directly in ink, not sketching it out first in a limited time period. That was very exciting to me. Drawing is so important to all aspects of art. You might not see things as drawing-based, but you have to be able to draw to communicate your ideas, put it out there and be okay with it, just letting line and color flow. Believe in what you do.
For more, visit steveslasky.com. For more arts and culture, visit azpbs.org/artbeat, where you'll find feature videos and information on the Arizona art scene. Funding for Artbeat Nation is made possible by contributions to 8 from viewers like you. Thank you.